Hello everybody, I am Erik Mona, the publisher at Paizo Publishing, and this is the Pathfinder Roleplaying Game Beginner Box, fresh from the printer, here wrapped in shrink wrap. I'm going to open this up for you so you can see some of the components that go into the beginner box. But before I do that, I want to give you a sense of what this thing weighs and how much content there really is in here. So I'm just going to drop it on the table, listen and see if you can get an audible bump. So, this is a pretty heavy box, and there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Let me just slide open the cellophane wrapper, throw that on the floor, and give you a sense of what we have in this box. This box is meant to be an introduction to the Pathfinder role-playing game. It's appropriate for kids ages, basically 13 and up, probably even for younger kids with the right supervision. There are some small pieces inside, and I'm going to go over each one of those with you. Box itself is a sturdy, durable cardboard that you can reuse to keep all the components handy. First, we have a set of red polyhedral dice. All the standard Pathfinder dice are available in here, as well as instructions in the books about how to use them. We also have 20 bases for counters, and I'll explain those in a minute. The first thing you see when you open the box is this sheet. This thing kind of explains how to use the box. There are a variety of ways to get started. If you're alone, how to get started with a single adventure. If you have a group and you want to start making characters, how to do that. And then, if you want to just get right into the action, playing with the pre-generated characters, you can start adventuring probably about 10-15 minutes after opening the box. So the first book in here is the Hero's Handbook. This is a 64-page guide to the Pathfinder role-playing game. This book is probably the most lavishly illustrated book that we have done. As you can see, it starts with a sort of random adventure, a solo adventure that teaches the rudiments of the game, like attack rolls, things like that. And then it moves on to rules for creating your own character. We've slimmed down the Pathfinder role-playing game rules and went with an extremely visual presentation to make it easier for new players to understand how the game is played without cluttering the rulebook with things that they won't need for several levels. Pathfinder role-playing game beginner box has 3 different races. It's got elves, humans, and dwarves, and it's got 4 different classes. Each class is presented on a 2-page spread, or multiple 2-page spreads, and it gives you all the details that you need to advance your character all the way through 5th level. So this here is the Cleric. You'll see that there's similar things for the fighter, for the rogue, and for the wizard. We have simplified a lot of the spells. They're still the spells from Pathfinder that you know and love, but some of the corner cases and the things that come into play at higher levels are not included. The Pathfinder beginner box contains enough material to play a campaign all the way through 5th level in these 4 character classes. There are feats, as well as skills, items, and equipment. An overview on playing the game, which includes things like light sources, movement, and combat. A lot of charts and graphics explain how things like flanking work, and you just have a lot of basic information about how to get played. A summary of different conditions, how it works to die, how healing works, things like that. 64 pages gives you pretty much everything you need to know in order to play the game. So if you're just a player, this is all you'll need to know. You can jump right into the action with these 4 pre-generated character folios. This is the fighter Valeros. Little information, just basically, if you don't know anything about gaming, what's a fighter all about. You open it up, and this is really cool. The basic character sheet is right here in the middle, and that's got, it should look somewhat familiar to gamers. That's got information about your statistics, your skills, and whatnot. On either side, we have these sidebars here that are keyed to the character sheet itself, and they explain the basics of the game. They explain how to make attack rolls, in some cases how flanking works, how the first level character spells and feats work in play. It's through these 4 character sheets, a little summary of the character on the back, it's through these 4 character sheets that you can get going pretty much right away after opening the box. So there's the rogue, some background information. We've also got the wizard. We've also got the cleric. And as I explained earlier, information about the spells that the cleric has, what you can do in a turn. Pretty much everything you need to do a quick start game is in these character sheets. The game also contains 4 standard blank character sheets, so if you would prefer to make your own characters, you can pretty much just get started here. They're full color. A lot of the stuff is explained, significantly simplified, but the basis of this system is still the same system as the Pathfinder role-playing game. Moving on, we have a 96-page Game Master's Guide. This book is a concise guide to the art of game mastering. You can see there's a map of the first dungeon that we will take players through here, and then the very opening section is that dungeon. We've got rooms 1 to a page. Generally, more complicated rooms get a full spread, and we introduce concepts in the game 1 room at a time. So the first room will tell you how to make a skill check, the next room's got a combat, and as the adventure goes on, introduces more and more complex ideas until you've done your first adventure and you pretty much have an idea of how to play Pathfinder. Following that, there is all kinds of tips about running the game, about building campaigns, about populating your world, about making dungeons of your own. It's not just about playing through our dungeon, it's about teaching people how to make adventures on their own so that they can run their own Pathfinder campaigns all the way up through 5th level. So there's just a great deal of information about treasure, environments, lots of color illustrations and examples for people who maybe aren't as experienced at playing the game. Then we've got a section on magic items. There's quite a few of those, all level appropriate for beginning players and characters. After that, we go into the monster section. There's just shy of 100 monsters in this book, and you can see there's a new sort of stat block format that is very concise and a lot easier to use. We stripped some of the very complicated rules systems out of this version of the game, so you won't find attacks of opportunity, you won't find combat maneuvers, but you will find the basics of the system pretty much in place. So lots and lots of monsters. Lots and lots and lots of monsters. And then kind of summaries of how to find monsters based on where their environment, where they live, and what kind of monsters they are. We also have a little summary of the village of Sandpoint, which ties into our Rise of the Runelords adventure path, and is also just kind of a great little village to start your campaigning. Some information about the hinterlands, some tips for how to flesh that area out with your own adventures. Then we close with a summary of the various conditions in the Pathfinder role-playing game. Additionally, the beginner box comes with a large flip mat play surface. This one side is the dungeon that is included in the sample adventure in the Game Master Guide, so you don't need to draw anything, you can just play right through here. It's a pretty basic dungeon, so you'll be able to reuse it for various reasons throughout your gaming career. And then on the back we have a blank flip mat for you to draw your own dungeons, your own environments for your characters to face. This is a tool that you will probably use well beyond the point in time when you're ready to move on from the beginner box to the full Pathfinder role-playing game. The game also contains a number of counters, heavy cardstock counters. There are just under 100 of these. There's a whole sheet here you see, in addition to this nasty black dragon. You see there is a male and a female of every race in the game. So, for example, we have here a dwarf cleric. This is a female dwarf cleric. It just pops out like that. You can open the bag of bases and put it together just like that. So anyway, we did these with 3 dimensionals rather than kind of making them just flat counters. We wanted them to interact with miniatures in case people wanted to mess around with their miniatures. Either the metal miniatures that are put out for Pathfinder by Reaper, the pre-painted plastic miniatures that are produced in concert with WizKids for Pathfinder. Pathfinder Battles is the brand name there. Or your own fantasy miniatures, whatever you may find in the store or whatever you might already have. So there's tons of counters. There are 20 plastic bases for the counters. You shouldn't really ever need more than 20 figures on the battle mat in any one time. And then lastly, we have a little ad sheet here on the back that shows off the Pathfinder Society Organized Play Program and the various different places where you can go next. After playing through the Pathfinder Beginner Box, you will probably want to move on to the Pathfinder Role-Playing Game Core Rulebook. Paizo.com/beginnerbox, one word, will have a large amount of information about where to, keep playing the game. It'll have player information, including a new class, the Barbarian, done up like the beginner box, and some new options for each of the 4 character classes in the game. It will also have some tips for game masters, including new monsters. So that's it. That is the Pathfinder role-playing game beginner box. It retails for $34.99, and it is currently slated to be in stores on October 26th, 2011. So we are on the doorstep of a new era for Pathfinder. If you've got somebody in your group of friends who's interested in learning the game, but is maybe intimidated by a 600-page hardcover rulebook, this is the product for you. So once again, October 26th, 2011, Pathfinder role-playing game beginner box. Hope you check it out. Thanks for your time.